Hello, and welcome back to Rune Factory 2. Gosh, it's an intro I've been wanting to do for like a week now, and I just haven't actually had the nerve to actually do it. So, it's maybe one of these episodes I'll remember to actually. And then just catch everybody off guard because no one was expecting it. So, anyway, in today's episode of Rune Factory 2, let's check the garden. How's the garden doing? Yep, garden's going well. Okay, cool. When did I plant the clovers? If it was summer, then they wouldn't bloom until winter. But for some reason, I keep thinking that they'll bloom in fall. Oh, these aren't ready yet, huh? Wait a second. You can move them! Okay, that's good to know. That's news, that's information that I can work with. Oh gosh, imagine... imagine staying up till almost 1 a.m. and then waking up at 6 in the morning. Just to go run around and deal with vegetables and stuff. And oh my gosh, why is it so warm in here? It's actually getting into springtime, so I could open the window and just probably leave it open. Probably doesn't go into freezing at night. So I kind of want to go back into videos just to find out when I first planted these. So I know when the 60 days of growth is up. So I'll know when I can actually harvest them. Because with my, what, 71 attack? Yeah, that doesn't seem so good. And I'm pretty sure I cannot upgrade the watering can any further, so... can't do that. To do better. Bye! Oh, what a topic to talk about today? No. You get nothing, and you'll live with it? Because that's all there is to talk about. Is essentially nothing. Hope you enjoy that. How are you? Woohoo! I know I talk about this all the time, but it always feels like there should be more that I'm doing, that I should be doing more. Oh yeah, what is life? What is the point of doing stuff in life, huh? Oh yeah. Oops. 60, 81, 90, so that's 120. Now, 140. 140 to about 160. How much XP did I get off of that? Basically nothing. Level cap isn't flipping 60, is it? The level cap had better not be bloody 60. Just want to see how much XP this gives for killing it. Okay, cool. An actual noticeable amount of XP. Cinnamon, stop it! Cinnamon! Seriously, what's wrong with you, cat? Oh, right, because it's on the top screen. It's like, I haven't seen these logos before. There's a good reason for it, too. If we can do it fast enough, we can absolutely hit it twice. Oh, yeah. This seemed like, yeah, even though it takes what, 5, 6, 10 hits? Two. 11 hits? Even though it takes 11 hits instead of 1 to 2, like the apples. It still seems well worth it. Because it seems like it gives more than 10 times the XP that the apples do, so it's all good. But I want to, like, I want to do something big, kind of impactful, but, like, you know, not, like, super big, like, save the world type stuff. That's just a bit too much. What I want to do is find another, like, in-person commander group that I can just meet up with. Maybe every week, maybe every few days. Just, even not just commander, just, you know, meet up, play some Magic together and all that stuff. There's some other games. But unfortunately, people just are really incredibly busy. Yeah. I have ideas for new commander decks rather often, but I never make them anymore. Well, rarely ever make them anymore, because, like, what's the point? Like, yeah, sure, I can play with people online, but playing with people online is nothing compared to playing with people in person. Yeah. Yeah. I have a CDH group for playing my CDH deck, and casual Discord server for playing casual decks, but it's like... Yeah. Put my CEDH deck against other CEDH decks, and it seems like half, question mark, of the people there don't care about, you know, actually play the game. They just want to solitaire their deck and then win game. That's all they really care about. They want to do their one combo, and if you stop them, they get all, like, annoyed from it, but it's like, dude, this is CEDH. Like, if you just want to do your combo and just win, bloody well goldfish your deck. Just play it without any opponents around. Just, like, goldfish it. Meanwhile, I have stupid ideas for decks, and these aren't CEDH, obviously. Like the power level 0 deck. It's like, yeah, it's so stupid, but I know I've talked about this in the past, but power level 0 deck, strictly speaking, means it cannot win under its own merits. But now recently, I've had a theory for an alternate version of the power level 0 deck. So, like, the original design was, like, no creatures with power 1 or greater unless they have defender, and no way to make them try to remove the defender or let them attack anyway. You know, nothing that can hurt the life of other players. Removing creatures is fine, though. Or makes them mill cards. Like, no cards in the game that will actually assist in... strictly be able to assist or enable you to win the game. So, like, can't run Land Maniac, because 1, that's a win condition, and 2, that's a creature with 2 power. But also, for the second half of the joke, run a lot of actually really good cards, like Cyclonic Rift. Doesn't actually win you the game. Gosh, this place is so laggy. Cyclonic Rift doesn't win you the game. If you can cast Cyclonic Rift 100 times, it's not going to win you the game, even if it, you know, annoys everyone else into conceding. So, it's like, and then of course people will hear all this and then just go, but how does the deck win? And it's like, no, it doesn't. How does it win? It doesn't. Well, what's the fun if you play a deck and you don't win? It's like, if you think you have to win a game of Commander in order to have fun, don't play Commander. Odds, I mean, in a fair game, there's a 75% chance you lose. So you can only have fun if you win, don't play it. Yeah, I've had lots of fun in games where I wound up not winning the game. Like just a few days ago, played some Commander with my brother and one of his friends. And it's like, oh, yeah, sure, I put myself in a good position to win, mostly because copying someone's, one of someone's creatures, so... Because, hey, clone deck is fun. Yeah, my brother wound up winning that one, and I helped him see, like, the combo that enabled the win. And it's like, I'm not getting mad at him for winning. Like, I encouraged him to win. Like, hey, it's like, this is what the deck can do. It's like, he's looking through cards like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do for this. And I'm like, yeah, let me help. Let me look through the cards you have available and tell you exactly how you can beat me. And it's like, okay, so, like, here's a way that you could beat me, but what you don't know, but what you should suspect, is that I have, like, an answer in my hand, so you have to find a way to win through a potential answer. You can't just go for the first immediate, obvious potential win, because someone might be able to stop that. So you have to have, like, a protection for your wing. So, but, yeah. Yeah, talking about Commander with people online, people are so one-track minded that it's annoying. I don't know how many people have told me, you should put Walking Ballista in your artifact deck. You have to have Walking Ballista in your artifact deck. You're never going to ever win a game if you don't put Walking Ballista in. It's like, one person's argument was, well, if you have infinite mana and infinite card draw, then Walking Ballista is a way for you to win the game. It's like, even when I do have infinite mana and infinite card draw on my colorless deck, I just, you know, draw until Staff of Domination, use that for infinite life, then grab Voldaken Orrery with that infinite life to win the game. If they, you know, try to counterspell one of those two, I can go for it, no broach, and stop their counterspell. If they somehow exile one of them, I use, you know, Karn to get back the card from exile. Like, so, it's like, oh, Walking Ballista is just another way you can win with infinite mana. It's like, the amount of times I have infinite mana, whoopsies. Ah, no. Wait a second. Has the game not been on this whole time? Stop. No, the game is on. It just acts weird whenever I accidentally hit the full screen button. Yeah. The amount of times I have infinite mana and don't have something I can do with it is very limited. Technically, that did happen a few days ago, but I also had, like, 3 cards in hand when it did happen. And that was a very specific, get infinite mana, but I cannot activate non-mana abilities. If I could have activated non-mana abilities, I would have been able to win. Oops. Okay, so, but it's like, oh no, Walking Ballista, Walking Ballista. I'm like, yeah, in that specific circumstance, if I'd been able to have, if I had the Walking Ballista in my hand, I could have, you know, cast it, X equals it infinite, like, you know, arbitrary amount. Wait till the person's next turn, and then just, you know, go and kill everyone. In that one specific instance, if I had it in my hand, I could have gone for the win. If. But also, me getting infinite mana, the next person in turn order, person like blue was also supposed to be drawing infinite cards as well, so they could have easily had an extra counterspell. They just kind of zoned out of the game, and that's something I'm noticing a lot lately for no particular reason. People play the game and they just go, it's like, I'll put down a card, so whenever, you know, whenever one of you does, like, such and such thing, I have a trigger. And then they zone out, and so when people do the thing, they just forget that they have the trigger until people remind them about it. And my personal thing is like, no, it's your trigger. It's like, if you have to keep in mind that whenever an opponent casts a spell, you might get a chance to draw a card. It's not our job to tell you, we cast a spell and not pay the 1, you get to draw a card now. Hey buddy, listen, you get to draw a card now. And if they want to play Mystic Study, they have to actually use the Mystic Study. When I play Mystic Study, I ask people if I can get the draw. And, like, oh god, Mystic Study venting. It's usually always the one person who's all like, oh, I'll never pay the 1 for Mystic Study. Whenever I cast a spell, you just assume I'm not going to pay the 1 for Mystic Study. And then, like, half the time that people say that, within, like, 2 turns around the table, whatever, they're all like, oh yeah, I'll cast such and such spell, and I'll pay for Mystic Study. It's like, dude, you made a very distinct point of saying to assume that you never pay it. So I've been drawing cards already. Like, I've already drawn the card. If you wanted to pay for the Mystic Study, you shouldn't have told me that you would never, ever, ever, ever pay the Mystic Study, ever. So yeah, I drew the card anyway, because that's what you had told me. Because you were so annoyed by the card, you didn't stop to think, hey, maybe I will pay it eventually. Yeah, when people like tap the mana and cast a spell and they leave 1 mana open, or like, even worse, they leave 1 mana floating in their mana pool that they can't even use on someone else's turn. And it goes like, yeah, cast a spell, I won't pay the 1, you get to draw a card, pass the turn, lose the mana. It's like, why did you give them a free card draw? Oh, well, I thought I was going to use the mana. Oh, you had a 1 second window where you thought, maybe I'll use that extra mana. Nah, I won't. And it's like, yeah, don't get angry about things people do because blah blah blah, it's just a game, blah blah blah. But also, people just make dumb, whatever. People don't pay attention to the game, so I don't know if it's like a me thing and I just find super complicated things and stuff to be really easy, and it's a whole, what do you mean you don't understand the Galaxian Federation? But there are people who it's like, oh, I don't know how lifelink works. Like, whenever a creature deals damage, you gain that much life. Okay, cool. My lifelink creature will hit you for 2. And then they just don't change the life total. It's like, it has lifelink, you gain 2. Oh, is that what lifelink means? It's like, I don't know if you're really dense or if you're trying to be super annoying. So yeah, I've been playing since, you know, I've been playing this game for 20 years, I know all the rules. Oh, by the way, what's Death Touch? I mean, 9 times out of 10 when players say they don't understand the mechanic, it's banding. It's either banding or something that's, like, brand new. Either from one of the 2 most recent sets, or from a set that hasn't actually come out yet. But I'm sure in my years of playing, I've seen someone who didn't understand how the evergreen keyword worked, and most of the time, I guess for that, it would be new players. It's like, oh, but flying says it can't be blocked except by creatures with flying. It's like, yes, however, Reach says it can block creatures with flying as if it had flying. But flying says it can only be blocked by stuff with flying. Like, you need to have, like, things for the keywords for, like, this beats that, in, like, an elemental system. Reach beats flying. Protection beats lifelink and death touch. Like... Exile beats indestructible. Exile isn't a keyword, but still. And bending beats trample. At my LGS, there used to be, maybe he still does it, I don't know, I don't. There used to be a guy who showed up at like every Commander Night. Every week Commander Night, he'd always be there. And he's the sort, it's like, oh yeah, I've been playing for like, you know, 20, 30 years or whatever. I know how this game runs. I know all of the rules. And yet didn't know how, like, Death Touch worked. And thought that Death Touch was only combat damage because, well, the old creatures with Death Touch only kill things if they were dealt combat damage. It's like, yes, that is how Death Touch... that is not actually how Death Touch used to be. That's just how those specific creatures are. And how certain creatures were formatted before Death Touch became a keyword. However, in the rules, there are two specific rules for Death Touch. One where it applies to combat damage, and also one where it applies to non-combat damage. And even in the short form ruling on some of the cards for Death Touch says any amount of damage dealt by this is enough to destroy a creature. So if you have a creature that says, like, tap this creature deals 1 damage to target creature, and then you give that creature a Death Touch, and then tap it to deal 1 damage to target creature, unless that other creature has protection, which case you can't target it anyway, or indestructible, yeah, that creature dies because it's dealt a damage by a thing with Death Touch. One of my decks is a Hapatra that famously makes Death Touch snakes. And there's an equip card of Viridian Longbow that gives the pinging ability, the ability to tap to deal 1 damage to a target, to the equipped creature. So, just put Viridian Longbow on a snake, tap it, kill a creature. But, yeah. People don't like paying attention to stuff or whatever. It's like, oh, the board state is too complicated. It's like, dude, you're the one who made the board state complicated. Like, I don't know what you want. I know my EDH deck gets pretty complicated in quotes, because it's not really that complicated. There's just a lot of things that are going on, including a lot of things that you don't really have to worry about at any given moment. So yeah, it looks like a lot is happening, but it's actually like the same thing like 20 times over. Yeah, get a nice combo going by, like, maybe I get a ton of mana, or maybe I just have some mana reductions, whatever. It's like, okay, because of these 4 cards, all my artifacts now cost like 5 less to cast. Is that understandable? If I have an artifact that costs 5 generic mana, I can pay 0 mana and cast it. If it costs 6 generic, I can pay 1 generic mana and cast it. If it costs less than 5, I can pay 0 and cast it. Because cost reduction doesn't bring the cost to being less than 0. Is that understandable? It's like, oh, I guess. Alright, now I have this card, the One Ring. This card has been the talk. There's been big talks around lately. Lots of people have been discussing it. I can tap it, put a counter on it, then draw cards equal number of counters on it. Okay, yeah, no, yeah, I got that. I run it too. It's like, okay. So I will tap it, put a 3rd counter on it, and then draw 3 cards. And then, 2 of those 3 cards were artifacts I can now cast for free because of the cost reduction. So I'll cast this. Does it resolve? Da 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 da. Does this resolve? Da 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 da. It's like, people want me to go slow because they have, like, interaction stuff. Like, they could have interactions. The EDH, I don't know unless they tell me that they're, you know, going, quote, F6, unquote. If they do or do not have interactions. Like, oh yeah, that resolves. Alright, now I'll cast this card for free. Wait, why are you casting it for free? It's like, dude, we went over this a minute ago. It's like, yeah. Reading the card explains the card, but remembering what the card does helps to know what the card does. When you're playing on webcam, it's kind of hard to read other people's cards. But it's like, dude, we're just over this. I explained to you why it was, and you said you understood. Oh, yeah, those things. Okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah. What's even worse is when people ask, like, oh, hey, what does that card do? And it's like, you know, I'll cast, I don't know, Vidalcan Ori. Not on my CDH deck, but it used to be. Oh, what does that card do? It's like, oh, I can cast non-land spell. Yeah. It's like, dude, you asked me what it does. Why are you trying to, you know, mash A through my dialogue as if I'm some NPC in a video game? When you had... It's not like I'm saying, I cast Vidalcan Orrery. This is a 4-mana artifact that allows me to cast non-land spells as if they had flash. That means that I could cast the spell as... No, I said the name of the spell as I was casting it, because that's proper manners. You asked me what it does. So I started explaining what it does, and like 1 or 2 seconds into the explanation, it's not just like, oh yeah, I know that card, okay. It's like, okay, yeah, that's the thing that happens. Sometimes it takes a moment for it to, you know, click, and it's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, what's that card do? What does that card do again? Well, I can cast non-land spells. Oh, right, Vidalcan Ori. Okay, yeah, I get it. Sure, whatever. It's like, well, I can cast... Yeah. It's like, oh my... Like, that's just being rude? Like... Oh, is that card do? Yeah. It's like, dude, it's like, I want to just, like, they try to, like, mash through the dialogue. Just like, I pause, wait for them to stop yelling me through, and then I go, Vidalcan Orrery is a 4-mana artifact card printed in such and such set. While it is on the battlefield, I am... For as long as it remains on the battlefield, I am allowed to cast non-land cards as though they had flag. Like, just give the full... the anti-Cliff Notes version of the card. Hey, they wanted to rush through my dialogue? Well, screw you. You asked, and then tried to rush through it. So I'm gonna punish you for it, and the other 2 people have to be taken along for the ride as well. Maybe if you didn't want me to say it, you shouldn't have asked. And of course they report me to the mod for being, you know, actively aggressive to them or whatever, and then I have to go back to recording all of my Commander games for when people start being all abusive and stuff, and it's just annoying. Is all anything is. Everything is just really annoying. At least with like casual players, like if they don't know the card, it's like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, cast Vidalcan Ori. It's like, oh, what does that card do? It allows me to cast non-land spells as if they had flash. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I passed priority on it. Usually just like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then I have to prompt like, does it resolve? It's like, yeah, sure. Because that's a big thing. Like, does my spell resolve? And people will complain I take super long commander turns, but it's like half of my turn is asking, does this spell resolve? And then people ignoring me. I legitimately had a game once where it's like, I'll cast like so-and-so spell, and then I just like, wait. I think I have a reaction to that. What's that spell? Okay, what does it do? How are you casting it? What mana did you tap for it? Okay, but what's the spell? Okay, but like before it resolves, like what do you... Like how much mana do you have left? Okay, what creature's on the board? Huh. Pause for about 30 seconds. Like, hold on, I'm thinking. Yeah, okay, it resolves. Hey, could you speed up your turn? Oh my gosh, your turn is taking so long. It's like, most of my turn has been you talking. And then it's like, okay, and then I'll cast, you know, like this creature. And it's like, hold on, I think I have a response. Okay, but what's that card that you played earlier? It's like, you don't have to be a genius to play the game, but it helps to at least have some short-term memory. It helps to have a better short-term memory than Dory from Finding Nemo. And then next turn, it's like, I'll attack you with my, I don't know, with my Goblin Grenade or whatever. Hey, since when did you have this out? It's like, yeah, I played it last turn. You spent 3 minutes deciding if you were going to respond to me casting it, and then said that it was resolved and entered. That was on my previous turn, so now it doesn't have summoning sickness anymore. But, I mean, that's a whole turn ago. It's not like they could, you know, see it on the board, or remember that conversation. What's worse is when I go, it's like, okay, I'm going to cast, I don't know, this, whatever, Goblin Speedster. Oh, what is that? 2/2 with haste. 2 mana 2/2 with haste. Okay, I guess it resolves. I'm gonna go to combat. Wait, hold on. Wait. Yeah, okay, you can go to combat. I'm gonna attack your Planeswalk with my Goblin Speedster. Wait, when'd you get that out? I played it this turn. Oh, but if you play it this turn, you can't attack with it. It has haste. What's giving it haste? It, like, the card itself says that it has haste. Oh, I didn't know that. It's like... With people who are particularly bad about this, I just block them so I don't wind up playing another game against them. Because I'd rather not play a game of Commander than play a game of Commander with someone like that. Like, does that sound particularly bad? I don't want to play a game of Commander with someone who... How do I say this in a way that's as least insulting as possible? Okay, I don't want to play a game of Commander with someone who will not pay attention to the game. And then people... And of course, people always have the argument, well, it's just a game, you shouldn't care about it. It's like, this is a way that I pass my time and try to have some enjoyment with the time that I spend. I do care about how I spend my time, because, like, sure, my time isn't especially valuable. I have a YouTube channel expressing that fact. But I'd still rather be doing something fun than be doing something annoying. That's why, even though I have this channel somewhat dedicated to, you know, playing games and trying to complete games, if I'm playing a game I don't particularly like, I stop playing it. Like, Rune, I was playing it, found that I didn't like it for a couple of reasons, and decided, you know what? No. I'm going to not continue playing this. Like, I'd rather spend my time playing a game I actually like Teppy. And it's... when it comes to games I feel obligated to keep playing, that would be stuff like Danganronpa. Yeah, Danganronpa 1 was a slog to get through. Danganronpa 2 I mean, we did a ton of backlog episodes of that in a row. Yeah, we did a ton of Danganronpa episodes in a row. So, yeah, we enjoyed that. And now we're on Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls, and it's like, yeah, but just recording one episode of that a week, it is a bit of a slog. I find, yeah, these are a bit more of a slog. I only just want to record, like, just only record it, like, the day before it has to go up. Like, hey, Rune Factory 2! Record, like, yeah, just hours before it goes up. It's like, what, 3 p.m., 4 p.m. right now? It's hard to tell. 3:01 p.m. right now. Look, check out the time, 41 minutes and 10 seconds in. And it's like, yeah. I binged Rune Factory 4 for a bit, but I think ever since then, the Rune Factory videos have basically been recorded just hours before they go up. Unless I specifically need to pre-record a bunch of episodes, if I'm, like, you know, not going to be able to record stuff for a period. Even though with a handheld computer I totally could record, but if I'm going out of town, I don't want to try to make myself have to record stuff, because I might have to be in a situation where it'd be bad to record stuff. Like, if I'm sharing a room with someone and I can't get my own, like, privacy, well, I still think it'd be funny. Not efficient or anything, but funny. To record, like, at a convention, just, like, find a place slightly away from people so I'm not, you know, in the way of them. Just, like, in a hallway, sitting against a wall, trying to record. Get, like, a headset, so I have, like, a microphone, so I don't need my USB microphone, and just use the built-in mic with the terrible audio quality. It's like, hey, y'all, how's this even doing? Can you even hear me, y'all? There's just people around just watching me talk to my oversized PSP. I shouldn't sell this computer. I like this computer. It's a very nice computer. Probably the screen protector is broken, though. Just a little bit. Yeah, I want to make new magic decks because I get, like, ideas for them. But actually, like building the actual full deck list is a bit of a chore. And then it's because so many cards now. It's like, if you're trying, because back when there used to be a time when I'd make new commander decks constantly, about 10, 11, 12 years ago. I actually had a friend, online friend. We'd build commander decks and play them together on Octagon. We had actually met some other people, I think, on Octagon to play with sometimes. Yo, shout out if any of y'all used Octagon for playing card games. That was quite a thing. Yeah, just build decks on there, whatever. Commander was still a relatively new format at the time, I think. Question mark? So they weren't really safe. It's like, I remember playing Commander, and people, like, just never use signets. Like, yeah, Solving. Everyone used the Solving. Solving was always a staple from as far as I can remember. But people didn't used to use signets. People would use, like, a Sakura Tri-Builder in their green decks. But people would also use, like, Yavimaya Elder in their green decks. That was a staple. But yeah, people wouldn't use signets, and then I saw someone be all like, hey, yeah, like, I still remember seeing someone cast a signet and people going, well, that seems like a waste. It's like, why would you run that? It's like, oh, but it's, like, extra mana. It's like, at least with Sakura Tri-Builder, you can put it out, someone attacks you, you block, sack it, get a land. So it's a free block, and then also gets you a mana. I mean, and then people started realizing, oh yeah, signets are actually pretty good. And then the price of signets went up from like 20 cents to like $3 or $4. And just kind of never went all the way back down again. And it's like, gosh, that's actually a fair bit to spend on an extra mana. It's basically like you pay 2 mana to get out an extra land. But hey, if you're not in green, that's basically the best non-solving ramp you can really get. Yeah, Mana Crypt and Mana Vault were still around, but with those prices... yeah, no. But anyway, yeah, but now, trying to build a commander deck, it's like... that's a lot more cards to look through. It's like, oh, if you're in these colors, like, here's 100 staples for your commander deck. Oh, don't forget to also put in, like, what you actually want to do with the deck. You can legitimately make a commander deck where it's just all staples and lands. And that's it. People do that, in fact. It's just 5-color good stuff. But it's like, if you want to actually have your deck do a specific thing, you basically have to start taking out staples. And of course they're called staples because you essentially gotta play them. Like, you can't just not play a staple. That would be weird. But you have to not play staples if you want to do the thing that your deck wants to do. Nope, they're not ready yet. Yeah. And then, of course, people, especially people online, are all like, well, why didn't you build your deck with just 100 staples, 99 staples, and a commander? Well, why would you build something like that? That's a bad deck. It's like, yeah, that's the point. It is a bad deck. I've had a lot of fun in games where everybody just plays a bad deck. And it's like... yeah. That's the idea. Just... And then, of course, sometimes people are like, oh yeah, bad deck. Like this precon. It's like this new precon that just came out. This $100 precon. It's like... dude, my deck was like $30. Like, blah, blah, blah. You can still run a good $30 commander deck, blah, blah, blah. Your precon has like 200 worth of cards in it. And it's like, okay, well, let's just all run precons. I'll run this, you know, the EDH of precons, and you run the jank tier of precons. So it used to be, precons were kind of bad decks that you could buy and run and play a game in, and people know, oh, you're playing a precon, okay, we'll go easy on you, and more focus on each other, and keep you in the game as well. But now it's like, oh, you're playing a precon? Okay, cool, let me switch to something more competitive. Because back in the original days of precons, there were 3 commanders for them, and the deck was kind of built so you could have any of them as your commander and do any of like the 3 things that the deck focuses around. Like, remember I got one Grixis one, and it's like, one commander wants everyone to draw cards, and it hurts opponents who draw extra cards. One commander wants you to cast her and exile instants and sorceries off the top of everyone's libraries, then attack with her and cast such cards. The other one, I don't even remember what it was, but the idea was that you could run any of the 3 and the deck would perform approximately the same, albeit not super well. course, the mana base of 3 cards is still pretty bad because printing good cards costs Wizards of the Coast more money? I don't know. That's that. People also, for whatever reason, say Commander is a horrible place to for someone to start with when they're just learning the game. And like, I still remember when I was learning Magic in general, I started off by borrowing other people's decks, and it was essentially kitchen table, I guess. I don't know if it was set to a specific format. And it's like, okay, played like 2 games like that, built 2 like kitchen table decks to play against myself a bunch to try to understand the rules, but could only really do so far. And then just kind of started getting into like pre-release and drafts. Did a lot of drafts. Tried to get into. I think I started playing Commander before I started playing Standard. I think. And then, like, yeah, I'd go down to play like Standard at Standard nights and stuff. Try to get into Modern because Standard was a bit too much. All hail the Siege Rhino, right? Yeah. Try to get into Modern, but it's really just Commander that I had the most fun with anyway, so that's what I went for. And it's like, yeah, I think I'd only ever made like 1 Standard deck, and that was like it. And then I made a few Modern decks, and I still have like all 4 of my old Modern decks. I don't think that anything in them got banned. But they're not, you know, good decks or anything. Let's see, there is mono white life gain. Just put in all of the cards that could gain me life consistently, and again, not particularly good, but it is fun for like casual. And I think there's an Aetherflux in there. For when I get over 50 life, I can just end the game. That's the primary win con. There is mono green +1/+1 counters, because I like Torrent Scales and wanted to build with that, and that deck has like 15 lands in it because the curve basically stops at 2. If I can get like a land, Torrent Scales, yeah, if I get a land and a Torrent Scales my opening hand, I basically just win. Or at least that's how it used to be. Yeah, because this was before I really had access to the internet to just order cards. That really changed everything a lot. That was a big part of it too, with the casual Commander decks. You could trade with other people for new cards. You go to the LGS and, you know, buy packs or buy singles. But you couldn't particularly just... It's like, it wasn't in, like, the public knowledge of, oh, just go online and buy whatever cards you want there. You know? Oh, use tapped out, build out your deck list there, and then just buy all the cards you wanted. And then it's like, yeah, that wasn't really particularly... Like, yeah, playing Octagon, you could use whatever cards you want. But playing, like, in-person, on-paper decks, like, no. So someone's there with, like, a Guy's Cradle, because they opened one, like, you know, 20 years ago, and they've just had it ever since. Oh, well, they have a Guy's Cradle, like... Yeah, I think the way the game is going, I think it's just people are too lazy to properly play. I don't know what it is. You know what? While this is uploading, gonna go and just try to get a nice casual game. I tried to build a deck. I built a deck recently with like all of the battles cards in it, and I played it like yesterday. And I started to feel really guilty whenever I played a card that wasn't a battle. The deck performs kind of well. But it's not, wins turn 6, so of course it's garbage by modern Commander standards. Oh well, such is life.